tape on his glasses. Shocker, right? He has his jeans rolled so tight at the bottom. You know, remember that back in the 80s? The tight roll. And he has, for the young ones, they probably don't know, Spuds MacKenzie tennis shoes from Kmart. And I was like, I'm a sophomore, he's a freshman, I don't know who this guy is, I'm running the roost at the college, so I'm like, you can't sit down at my table. He's like, what do you mean? I want to sit down here, and he kept talking to me, and I was, please don't talk to me anymore. I don't. Really, I did. I was very, very mean to him for probably a week straight, and he still sat at my table every day. He was like, I'm going to be friends with this girl. She has connections, I can feel it. I'm going to be cool for once at Highland Community College. Does this sound right?
Yeah.
Tanya was there. These guys, some of them were there, some were not. But we became the best of friends. We hung out with Gertie and Chow, God rest his soul. I wanted to mention that. I have spent so many nights at their apartment. He is one of my best friends. And then a couple of years ago, he said, I met this girl. We FaceTimed for a little bit. And he's like, I really, really like her a lot. And I was like, you do? This is crazy, right? I mean, Gertis, I feel like he's smitten. And I met her, and she's amazing. And I love these two so much. And I just want to say, thank God I let him sit at my table in 1988, and we've been the best friends forever. I love you two. Congratulations. We've been the best of friends, so now I'm going to turn it over to these lovely gentlemen. They're going to say a few.
Just a few words, and really, I just want to apologize to Tina's family. As Gertie mentioned, before he met you for the first time, he went out with us for about 6 hours. Oh, sorry. I mean, part of it. But literally, anybody that knows Gertie knows he doesn't necessarily plan ahead a lot. So I knew it was kind of something special. I didn't really know what was going on. Because typically he'd come to Chicago and he'd call me when he was on his way from the airport and say, hey, what are you doing? Not like a day ahead or 2 days ahead. It was like he just knew, but he called a couple days ahead and with Dan. And we all got together and we got to meet Tina. And it was about 20 minutes in and I was like, damn, I like her more than I like him. But it was, in sincerity, it was just an immediate, just the genuine sincerity. And I could tell in both of them, just, you could see it in their eyes. It was just plain as day. Like, you'd have to be a fool not to see it. And I was like, this is something special. And I'm just so happy to see it come to the full evolution. Never thought it would happen. But, dude, you outkicked your cover sheet. But no, love you both. And again, apologies to the family for that day, but I think it's all worked out all right. Definitely, love you.
Hello everyone, I'm Dan Rose. There's a couple things in life after, 40 when you just don't think it's ever going to happen. The first one was the Cubs winning the World Series, so yes. Come on. Second is Gertie getting married. It's amazing. Who would have thought? Gertie, we've been around the world together. We've been to Vegas, Paris, Barcelona, run into the Bulls. Wouldn't do anything with anybody else. We had a blast. And Tina, it's been so great getting to know you. You guys are a perfect match. You know I love you guys so much. So cheers to these guys.
All right. So, I've given a lot of thought to what I wanted to say today, and to be honest, I never figured it out. So, what I would like to do, though, is talk about the path I went down, the journey I went on, trying to figure out what I wanted to say today. And it started when Dave asked me to be his best man. One of my first thoughts was, okay, I get to give a best man speech, what am I gonna say? And initially I figured, this will be pretty easy. I'll just tell a story. Just like Les just did, Chow, and Dan. I'll just tell a story. And if it's one thing that we've got, it's a lot of stories. So I started thinking about the stories and what type of story I might want to tell. Maybe I'll tell one of our funny stories, maybe one of our sad stories, maybe one of our inspirational stories. And did you know we don't have any of those? We're not all that inspirational. But I wasn't sure, so I started to think about, well, why am I doing this? What is the purpose of this speech? And so I decided to do what anybody might do in this situation, and I went to Google. And I typed in, well, probably today we would go to AI, right? But I'm old school. So I went to Google and I typed in, what is the purpose of a best man speech? And as I read through the responses, I gathered the opinion that the purpose of a best man speech is to convey the meaning of the relationship between the best man and the group. So, and that could be done through a story, actually. So then, gave it a new look and I thought, well, what story can I tell that would properly convey the meaning of our relationship? And gave that some thought for a while and realized fairly quickly that that wasn't gonna be possible, because our friendship, I think like any friendship, is the culmination of all of our stories and all of our memories. And I just didn't think I could do justice to what you mean to me with one story. So now I'm feeling confused and uncertain as to what I want to do. And then something interesting happened. And he doesn't know I'm going to talk about this, but I was driving my son to school a few weeks back, and he said to me, Dad, and by the way, when he isn't calling me dude or bro, and he calls me dad, this is something serious, and I know I need to be paying attention. So he calls me dad, and he says, I've got a project at school. I need to pick 5 people as part of the project, 5 people who are in heaven that I want to meet when I get to heaven. So it's basically his welcoming committee when he gets to heaven. So of the 5 people, he was trying to decide on the 5th spot for between my father Al and my stepfather Larry. The other 4 he had locked in, and he had my nephew, his cousin Cody, he had my wife's grandmother Myrtle, he had David Lauer, Uncle Chow, and he had David Gertis. David Gertis is still alive, he's not in heaven. And I said to him, I said, buddy, you don't have to wait to get to heaven to talk to or see Uncle Dave. We could give him a call right now and we can talk to him. And in fact, we're gonna see him in a couple of weeks at the wedding. And he said to me, yeah, I know, but I talked to my teacher about it, and she said it would be okay if I put him on the list because that's how much he means to me. And that was it, right? What I'd been looking for in a story wasn't in a story that was between you and me. Yeah, our stories bind us, and they always will, and that will never change. But the impression that he has made on my son, that my son would want him to be on his welcoming committee to heaven, well, that's everything. And I know that my daughter feels the exact same way about him. I know that she cherishes him, and I know that my wife completely adores him. So, as I stand here today, yes, our stories bind us, and that will never change anything. But what I truly love you for is what you mean to them, the 3 most important people in my life. And I'm just telling you, buddy, that's everything. So.